This happened when I was 9 years old in 1987. I grew up in Townsend, Massachusetts. It's a medium-sized town on the New Hampshire border. My dad worked for a very well-known local plastics company, and my stepmom worked at the Congregational Church. I got dragged along with his wife to church every Sunday, whether I wanted to or not. The one saving grace of going to church with my dad's wife was the opportunity to go on the playground after Sunday school class and the standing offer of cake, which they had almost every Sunday. It was one Sunday in late November. I was dragged to church with my dad's wife. Afterwards, as usual, me and the rest of the kids from class poured into the churchyard to socialize and drop cake everywhere. Now, I don't really remember what prompted me to approach a girl named Abby. She was 2 years younger than me, and a lot more popular. She was somebody that I barely knew, and hardly ever spoke to. But still, something within me told me that I had to tell her something important. So I sought her out on the playground that morning. "Hey, Abby," I started, feeling driven by something I couldn't explain. "You have to grow your fingernails out, so if someone tries to hurt you, you can go right for their eyes." I was dead serious as I said this. She gave me a slightly confused look and said, "Okay, why?" I didn't have an answer to that, so I just kind of shrugged and told her, "Just do it, okay? Trust me." A week later, she, her younger brother, and their mom would be found dead, murdered by a neighborhood psychopath named Daniel LaPlante. He had broken into their home, shot and killed Abby's mother Priscilla, and then drowned Abby and her brother William. He managed to hide from the police for at least 2 days, eventually being captured a half-hour away in the town of Ayer. When he was arrested, the police noticed scratches around his eyes. I cried when I found out that she and her family had been brutally murdered. I finally understood why I had to warn her, but still could not explain how I knew. Regardless, I view it as a failure on my part. I remember being incredibly distraught about it. No 9-year-old should have that kind of burden or guilt. I feel awful about what happened to Abby and her family, and I wish I could have done more to save her life. It took me years to mentally accept what happened. Survivor's guilt is a hell of a thing, but I was just too young to fully understand. I moved to my dad's when I was 10, and I didn't know anyone in the area except for the family my dad was friends with. A single mom with 3 kids. Luckily, there was a girl a couple of years older than me. I was 12 at the time I met her, and we got to know each other a little over the years. We weren't close, but ended up having the same friends. One night, my friend Rob was hanging out with her and her younger brother. They happened to be in the house alone because my friend's mom was at work. Here's where things get terrifying. Her mom had been helping out this one lady through her work, and she got to know her fairly well. She found out that she had a sister who was in a mental asylum, but had been let out recently. The night Rob was hanging out with my friend, they get a knock on the door. My friend thought it was their mom. She knocks a certain way when coming in, and answered it without thinking. Rob wasn't supposed to be there, and took off through the window to his house down the road. He never thought twice about it. It wasn't her mom, it was the sister of the lady her mom was helping, and she figured out through talking to her sister where the family lived and her mom's working schedule. She came in, and this is where I don't know all the details, and I'm glad I don't. My friend's younger brother got away to the neighbors to call the police. The lady brutally murdered my friend a week from Christmas, decapitated her, and left her body naked in a bathtub. But I don't know for sure. I wasn't allowed to go to her funeral. This happened on Halloween of last year. Me and a couple of buddies were out getting candy. Our neighborhood isn't exactly the safest, but it isn't the worst either. About 90 minutes into trick-or-treating, We see a house with a sign that says "Go to the van for your candy," which had an arrow pointing down to a creepy looking black van. This house was at the end of the street, so if things did go south, it would be easy to get away fast if necessary. We go to the van, and we see a man sitting in the driver's seat. He tells us,
"Your candy is in the back here. Open up the door and come on in."
I know when something is up, and my alarm bells were punching my brain at this point. We all give each other a confused look. Then we ask the man, "Why isn't the door already open? And why aren't you out here? Couldn't you have done the same thing with a take one note or something?" He just repeats himself, telling us to get into the back of his van for our candy. We say no, and continue on with our trick-or-treating. About 20 minutes later, we're about 2 blocks away. We notice a van about halfway down the street behind us. The same black van from before. I tell the others and we agree to haul ass back to my friend's house. Once the van notices us running away, it takes off in the other direction. When we got to our friend's house, we frantically tell our parents about what happened. They called the cops, but as far as I know, they never found the van. We agreed not to trick-or-treat this year, and decided to just hang out instead. I still wonder what would have happened if we had been stupid enough to enter that van.
At this point in the internet, nearly everybody who's been on YouTube knows about PewDiePie. I personally found his videos to be okay, which most people constantly brawl about in the comment section. A few days ago, I decided to check out his channel for any new updates and found some. The average surgery simulator, horror games stuff as usual. I scrolled down until I saw a video I hadn't watched, which is strange because I remember watching most of the surrounding videos. The video's thumbnail didn't surprise me much, it was just black. I thought it was a little strange, but I didn't care much. I didn't get to see the video's title because nearly instantly after clicking it, it went to full screen. It looked like any other PewDiePie video, with his face on the top right of the screen. At first, thinking it was a mistake on Pewdie's part, there was no game, just a black screen and Pewdie's webcam. He narrated it just like any other game, reacting to everything I couldn't see. The video was 10 minutes long, so around 5 minutes in I paused the video and scrolled to the comments to see what was going on. Every comment was basically what you'd see on every other one of his videos, as if he were actually playing the game. I was in the middle of writing a comment, the video unpaused. I, assuming it was me accidentally pressing space, scrolled up to the video to watch. Pewdie was looking straight towards me. PewDiePie is usually looking left and down, since that's how his camera is angled, so it was weird to see that he was suddenly right in front of the webcam. He continued to do nothing for the next 30 seconds, in which he broke the silence by restating his usual intro lines, even though the video was nearly 6 minutes in. When he was about to do his famous screech when he said his name, the video was black until about 7 minutes in. After the video resumed, I could see a terrified looking PewDiePie on the top right. He didn't say anything or do anything. He just looked at whatever he saw, obviously scared beyond belief. This wasn't how PewDiePie normally was when he was afraid. He would usually just screech and laugh it off a few seconds later. I could see that he was genuinely afraid. He started looking around him as if he had just heard something. I could hear a few muffled footsteps in the background of the video, which was probably why PewDiePie looked so paranoid. He got up from his seat and looked around. The video cut off there, but it was only 8 minutes in. After a minute, the video came back on. As far as I could tell, it was being recorded from a poor quality mini camera. PewDiePie was running while holding the camera, so I could basically just see the ground until there was only seconds left in the video. He pointed the camera towards himself, tears in his eyes, and repeated the words, "Forlatnig," until the video finally ended. I don't know what happened, or why no one saw what I saw, but I decided to best not bring things up in the comments. Just before I started writing this, I translated "Forlatnig," which is Swedish for "forgive me."